The shadow of the empty chair, awakening to the journey. Imagine this, the empty chair at the table. It sits there, silent and steadfast, a relic of laughter once shared, of hands intertwined over morning coffee, of whispered dreams under the glow of candlelight. For so many who have lost a spouse, this chair becomes more than furniture. It's a sentinel of absence, a hollow echo in the symphony of daily life. But what if I told you that this very emptiness is not just a reminder of what was lost, but an invitation? An invitation to rebuild, to rediscover, to transform the ache into a bridge towards something profound. Welcome, dear listener, to the journey of loss and healing. This is not a tale of endless sorrow, but a cinematic odyssey through the heart's shadowed valleys, where grief reveals itself as a fierce teacher, guiding us toward resilience and renewal. In this script, we embark together on a path that honors the love you've lost while empowering you to step forward. We'll uncover the 7 errors that so often ensnare us in the web of grief, mistakes born from the raw vulnerability of loss, yet ones we can learn to sidestep. These are not judgments, but gentle illuminations, drawn from the stories of countless souls who've walked this road before you. Through metaphors of storms and sunrises, through relatable tales of modern isolation and regret, we'll weave a narrative that speaks to your soul. Grief is not merely an end, it's a metamorphosis, a chrysalis from which you emerge stronger, wiser, more alive. Let us begin at the precipice, where the world fractures and the heart shatters like fragile glass underfoot. Picture a woman named Elena standing in her kitchen at dawn. Her husband, Marco, had been her anchor for 30 years. Through job losses, child rearing, and the quiet joys of retirement planning. One crisp autumn morning, a sudden heart attack stole him away, leaving Elena adrift in a sea of paperwork, unspoken words, and an overwhelming silence. The empty chair at their breakfast nook mocks her every morning, a symbol of the life they built together now reduced to echoes. Elena's story is yours, perhaps, or one that resonates deeply. It's the story of sudden widowhood, where the practical collides with the emotional and the spiritual whispers questions of meaning amid the chaos. The first error that keeps us stuck in grief is isolation, the temptation to withdraw into our own fortress of pain, believing no one could possibly understand. In our hyper-connected yet profoundly lonely modern world, this mistake amplifies like a feedback loop in an empty auditorium. Elena, in her grief, turned off her phone, ignored texts from friends, and let the curtains draw tight against the outside world. Why bother, she thought. They have their lives, I have my memories. But isolation isn't protection. It's a slow poison. It feeds on the myth that grief is a solitary burden, ignoring the ancient truth that humans are wired for connection, like roots intertwining beneath the soil to weather the storm. Psychologically, this withdrawal triggers a cascade of loneliness that deepens depression. Studies from grief counselors and psychologists reveal that prolonged isolation after spousal loss increases the risk of anxiety disorders by up to 50%, turning transient sadness into a chronic shadow. Regret creeps in here too, the what-ifs that haunt quiet nights. What if I'd reached out sooner? What if I'd shared my pain instead of bottling it? Elena's days blurred into nights of scrolling social media, envying the curated happiness of others while her own health deteriorated, skipped meals, sleepless hours, a body neglected in the name of mourning. Yet hidden within this error lies a lesson. Clarity emerges from connection. By avoiding isolation, we invite wisdom. Think of grief as a vast ocean. Isolation is drifting alone on a raft, vulnerable to every wave. But reaching out, that's building a fleet where friends, family, or support groups become lifeboats. Practical tools abound here. Start small. Journal your thoughts each evening, not as a diary of despair, but as letters to your lost love, sharing the day's struggles and small victories. Join a grief support group. Online forums like Widowed Friends or in-person meetings through organizations like GriefShare offer safe harbors where stories intersect, reminding you that your pain, while unique, is universally human. Overcoming this first error requires empowerment through action. Visualize Elena, after months of solitude, picking up the phone to call her sister. The conversation flows like a dam breaking. Tears, laughter, shared memories. She attends her first support group, where a man named Tom shares his own tale of losing his wife to cancer. I thought I was the only one who forgot anniversaries in the fog of grief, he says. Elena nods, feeling seen for the first time. This is the transformation from isolation to community, where regret fades and resilience blooms. Now let's delve deeper into the second error. Neglecting self-care, that insidious habit of putting grief above all else, as if honoring the lost means dishonoring the living self. In the cinematic lens of loss, this manifests as faded colors in a once vibrant life. Elena staring at untouched canvases in her art studio, her passion for painting buried under the weight of, "I don't deserve joy." Modern challenges exacerbate this. Financial pressures mount as bills pile up without a partner's income, leading to skipped doctor visits or poor nutrition in favor of saving time for mourning. The psychological impact is profound. Depression thrives in neglect, feeding on unmanaged stress that spikes cortisol levels, weakening the immune system and inviting illness. Anxiety whispers lies. You're fine, push through. But the body remembers headaches, fatigue, a heart that races at night with unspoken fears. Regret here is twofold. Regret for the lost one, compounded by regret for letting oneself crumble. The hidden lesson? Inner strength is forged in self-compassion. Grief teaches us that we are vessels of love, worthy of care. Metaphorically, think of your body as a garden after a storm. Neglect lets weeds overrun, but tending brings blooms. Practical steps. Establish a ritual of self-care. Begin with breathwork. Simple inhales of 4 counts, holds, exhales, to ground the anxious mind. Nourish with mindful meals, perhaps cooking a favorite recipe shared with your spouse, turning memory into sustenance. Exercise gently, a daily walk in nature, where the rustle of leaves reminds you of life's cycles, death and rebirth intertwined. Elena discovers this when a friend drags her to a yoga class. At first, resistance. How can I stretch when my heart is broken? But as she moves, tears flow, releasing pent-up sorrow. She journals affirmations. I am allowed to heal. Financially, she seeks advice from a planner, avoiding the pitfall of rash decisions, like selling the house in haste. This is empowerment, reclaiming health as a tribute to the love that once sustained you. As we transition seamlessly into the third error, consider the emotional quicksand of dwelling on regret, the endless replay of if-onlys that anchor us in the past. Elena tormented herself with memories of arguments unresolved, trips postponed, words left unsaid. In our fast-paced world, this error is amplified by social media's highlight reels, where others' perfect lives mock our imperfections, deepening the sense of failure. Psychologically, regret loops create a vortex of anxiety, where the brain's default mode network fixates on negatives, eroding self-esteem. Loneliness intensifies as we withdraw further, believing our flaws make us unworthy. But herein lies the spiritual gift. Wisdom from reflection, not rumination. Grief strips away illusions, revealing what truly matters. Forgiveness, first of self. To overcome, employ tools like mindfulness meditation. Visualize regrets as leaves on a stream, acknowledge then released. Storytelling helps. Craft a narrative where regrets become lessons. Elena writes a letter to Marco, forgiving herself for the small slights, honoring their love's imperfections. Support from therapy. Cognitive behavioral techniques reframe thoughts. What can I learn? Instead of why me? This error's antidote awakens hope. As Elena releases regret, she plants a garden in Marco's memory, each flower a symbol of growth from pain. Now the fourth error, financial impulsivity, where grief clouds judgment, leading to decisions that compound loss. Elena, overwhelmed, considered cashing out investments prematurely, ignoring tax implications in her haze. Modern widows face this acutely, navigating joint accounts, pensions, or debts alone, often while battling depression that saps decision-making energy. The impact: anxiety skyrockets as financial instability mirrors emotional turmoil. Regret follows missteps, like unnecessary expenditures on comfort items that drain savings. Lessons emerge: clarity in chaos. Grief hones discernment, teaching us to value security as part of legacy. Practical tools. Consult professionals. A financial advisor specializing in bereavement. Create a budget journal, tracking expenses with notes on emotional triggers. Elena attends a workshop on widow finances, learning to delay big decisions for 6 months post-loss, allowing grief's fog to lift. Empowerment comes in steps. She refinances the home thoughtfully, securing her future while honoring shared dreams. As part one draws toward its midpoint, let's reflect on these errors as threads in grief's tapestry. The empty chair, once a void, now symbolizes potential. We've explored isolation, self-neglect, regret, and financial haste. Each a pitfall, yet each a portal to strength. But the journey continues. The fifth error beckons. Social withdrawal beyond isolation, specifically avoiding new connections out of loyalty to the past. Elena shunned invitations, fearing betrayal of Marco's memory. In today's digital age, this means ghosting friends or declining dates, perpetuating loneliness. Psychologically, this fosters depression's grip, as human connection is oxygen to the soul. Anxiety about moving on too soon breeds regret. Hidden wisdom. Love expands, not replaces. Grief teaches boundless capacity for bonds. Tools. Gradual re-engagement. Coffee with a friend, volunteering at causes dear to your spouse. Journal prompts. What would they want from me? Elena joins a book club, finding camaraderie and shared stories, her heart opening like dawn's first light. The sixth error, spiritual disconnection, ignoring the soul's call amid loss. Elena, once faithful, questioned everything, letting rituals fade. Modern challenges include secular skepticism, where grief feels meaningless without framework. Impact. Profound emptiness, amplifying anxiety and regret. Lesson. Renewal through seeking. Grief invites deeper meaning, perhaps through nature, meditation, or renewed faith. Practical. Daily gratitude practices, spiritual reading, or retreats. Elena meditates by the sea, feeling Marco's presence in waves, reclaiming peace. Finally, the seventh error. Resisting change. Clinging to the familiar as if alteration dishonors the lost. Elena kept the house unchanged, a museum of memories stifling growth. Psychologically, this stalls healing, breeding stagnation-born depression. Wisdom. Change honors life's flow. Grief reveals impermanence's beauty. Tools. Small shifts are rearranging furniture, trying new hobbies. Elena redecorates, blending old with new, symbolizing integration. As we conclude part one, remember, these errors are not chains, but keys. The empty chair invites you to sit, reflect, then rise. In the parts ahead, we'll deepen this exploration, but for now, breathe. You are not alone. Hope awaits. Navigating the tides from stagnation to transformation. The empty chair from our journey still stands, a quiet witness to your grief. But now imagine it not as a void, but as a compass, pointing you toward a horizon where loss becomes a catalyst for renewal. In part one, we met Elena, a woman navigating the raw aftermath of losing her husband, Marco. We uncovered the first threads of grief's complex tapestry, errors like isolation, neglecting self-care, dwelling on regret, financial impulsivity, social withdrawal, spiritual disconnection, and resisting change. These are not failures, but human missteps, each a chance to learn, to grow, to step into the light. In this second part, we dive deeper into the emotional and practical currents of grief, focusing on three of these errors: dwelling on regret, financial impulsivity, and resisting change, unraveling their grip and illuminating paths to empowerment. Picture yourself as a sailor on this sea of loss, where the tides of sorrow can either drown you or teach you to navigate toward healing. Error 3, dwelling on regret, the anchor of if only. Let's return to Elena, standing in her living room, staring at a photo of her and Marco on their last vacation. A sunlit beach, his smile wide as the horizon. Her heart aches with if-onlys. If only she'd said, "I love you," more often. If only they'd taken that second honeymoon. If only she'd noticed his fatigue before the heart attack. Regret is a heavy anchor, tethering us to a past we cannot change. In our modern world, this error is amplified by the relentless comparison of social media, where others' perfect moments, anniversary posts, family gatherings, deepen the sting of what's lost. Elena scrolls through her phone at night, seeing friends' curated lives, each image a reminder of plans unfulfilled, amplifying her sense of failure. Psychologically, regret is a cognitive trap. The brain's default mode network, active during introspection, can spiral into rumination, replaying moments of perceived fault. Studies in grief psychology show that chronic regret increases cortisol levels, fueling anxiety and depression, which can persist for years post-loss. Loneliness creeps in as regret convinces us we're unworthy of connection, whispering, "You didn't do enough." Spiritually, it's a void. Where meaning once anchored us, now there's only the echo of missed chances. But there's a hidden gift in regret. It sharpens our clarity, teaching us to prioritize what truly matters. Like a storm clearing the air, grief strips away trivialities, revealing the beauty of imperfect love. To overcome this error, we must shift from rumination to reflection. Imagine regret as a river, dangerous if you stand still, but navigable if you move with its current. Practical tools can guide you. Mindfulness meditation. Sit quietly for 10 minutes daily, focusing on your breath. When regretful thoughts arise, visualize them as leaves floating downstream, acknowledge but not clung to. Apps like Headspace offer guided sessions tailored for grief, grounding the anxious mind. Reframing narrative. Write a letter to your spouse, not of apologies, but of gratitude for the moments you shared, however imperfect. Elena wrote to Marco, thanking him for their quiet evenings, their shared laughter over burnt dinners. This act reframed her regrets as lessons, easing the weight of guilt. Cognitive behavioral techniques. Work with a therapist or use journaling prompts like, "What would my spouse say about my regrets?" Or, "What lesson can I carry forward?" This shifts the focus from "if only" to "what now," fostering empowerment. Elena's breakthrough came when she joined a grief writing workshop. Sharing her letter aloud, she heard others' stories, each laced with their own if-onlys. A man named David spoke of regretting the years he worked late, missing time with his late wife. "But she'd want me to live now," he said. Elena nodded, tears falling, realizing Marco would echo those words. This is the transformation. Regret becomes a teacher, not a tormentor, guiding us to honor love by living fully. Error 4. Financial impulsivity. The whirlpool of hasty choices. Now picture Elena at her kitchen table, surrounded by a fortress of unopened bills and bank statements. In the haze of grief, she nearly sold their family home to start fresh, unaware of the tax implications or the emotional toll of leaving a space filled with memories. Financial impulsivity is a whirlpool, pulling us under with decisions made in desperation or distraction. In today's world, widows face unique pressures: managing joint accounts alone, navigating pensions, or tackling debts without a partner's input. The digital age adds complexity. Online scams target the bereaved, promising quick fixes, while impulsive spending on comfort items drains savings. The psychological toll is immense. Financial stress amplifies anxiety, with studies showing that 60% of widows experience significant financial strain within the first year of loss, often due to hasty decisions. Depression clouds judgment, making it hard to discern long-term needs from short-term urges. Regret follows. Regret for selling assets too soon, for ignoring debts, for not seeking help. Yet grief offers a lesson here: wisdom through deliberation. Like a sailor charting a course through stormy seas, careful planning restores stability. Practical steps to avoid this error include: delay major decisions. Commit to a 6-month pause on big financial moves, selling property, cashing out investments, or relocating. This allows grief's fog to lift, sharpening clarity. Elena followed this, waiting before deciding on the house, which saved her from a costly mistake. Seek professional guidance. Consult a financial advisor specializing in bereavement, often available through organizations like AIRP or local nonprofits. They can navigate tax laws, estate planning, and debt management. Elena found a pro bono advisor through a widow support network who helped her reorganize Marco's pension. Budget journaling. Track expenses with notes on emotional triggers. For example, Elena noticed she overspent on takeout when loneliness peaked. By cooking Marco's favorite recipes, She saved money and honored his memory, turning a practical act into emotional healing. Elena's turning point came at a financial literacy workshop for widows. She learned to create a budget that balanced necessities with small joys, like planting a garden, a nod to Marco's love of nature. This empowerment, financial security as a tribute to shared dreams, lit a spark of hope, proving that grief's chaos can yield order. Error 7. Resisting change. The stagnation of clinging to the past. Finally, let's revisit Elena in her home, where every corner holds Marco's presence. His favorite armchair, the bookshelf he built, the unchanged curtains they chose together. For months, she resisted altering anything, as if change would erase him. Resisting change is like anchoring a ship in a storm. It feels safe but risks sinking. In our fast-paced world, this error is compounded by societal pressure to move on quickly, clashing with the fear that change betrays love. Social media amplifies this, showcasing others' rapid reinventions, making stagnation feel like failure. Psychologically, resisting change breeds stagnation, which fuels depression. The brain craves novelty for healing. New experiences stimulate dopamine, countering grief's lethargy. Anxiety festers when we cling to the familiar, fearing the unknown. Spiritually, this error disconnects us from life's flow, where change is the rhythm of existence. The hidden lesson? Change is a tribute, not a betrayal. Grief teaches us that love endures through transformation, like a river carving new paths without losing its essence. Practical tools to embrace change include small shifts, rearrange a room, try a new hobby, or update a routine. Elena repainted the living room, blending Marco's favorite blue with a new, vibrant yellow, a metaphor for integrating past and present. This small act sparked joy, proving change can coexist with memory. Vision boarding. Create a collage of future goals, mixing old dreams with new ones. Elena included photos of Marco alongside ideas for travel, reflecting their shared wanderlust. This visual map guided her toward hope. Community engagement, volunteer, or join a club to spark new connections. Elena started tutoring at a local library, a nod to Marco's love of teaching, finding purpose in helping others. Elena's transformation unfolded when she redecorated their bedroom. She kept Marco's favorite quilt but added new pillows, symbolizing a blend of memory and renewal. At a support group, she shared this, inspiring another widow to plant a tree in her spouse's memory, a living change. This is resilience, change as a canvas where love paints new strokes, bridging to renewal. As we close part 2, the tides of grief reveal their dual nature, destructive yet shaping, like waves polishing stones. Elena's journey through regret, financial impulsivity, and resisting change mirrors your own potential to navigate these errors. These mistakes are not chains, but stepping stones, each offering clarity, wisdom, and strength. The empty chair, once a shadow, now glows with possibility, a seat for new stories, new connections, new you. In part 3, we'll explore the remaining errors, social withdrawal and spiritual disconnection, while weaving practical tools and inspiring calls to action. For now, pause and breathe. Picture yourself on that shoreline, holding a smooth stone, a testament to your endurance. You are not just surviving grief, you are sculpting a life of meaning, one courageous step at a time. Rising from the ashes, embracing connection and purpose. The empty chair, once a stark reminder of absence, has become a beacon in our journey, a symbol not just of what was, but of what can be. In parts 1 and 2, we walked with Elena, a woman grappling with the loss of her husband, Marco, as she navigated the treacherous currents of grief. We explored the 7 errors that keep us tethered to sorrow, isolation, neglecting self-care, dwelling on regret, financial impulsivity, social withdrawal, spiritual disconnection, and resisting change. These are not judgments, but signposts, guiding us toward healing. In this final part, we focus on the last 2 errors, social withdrawal and spiritual disconnection, unveiling their emotional and practical weight, their hidden lessons, and the tools to transcend them. Picture yourself as that phoenix, wings trembling, ready to soar. This is the moment to embrace connection and purpose, to transform grief into a testament of love and resilience. Error 5, social withdrawal, the silent drift from connection. Imagine Elena at a neighborhood barbecue, standing on the fringes, clutching a glass of lemonade. Friends laugh nearby, their voices a distant hum, but she feels like a ghost in her own life. Invitations to dinners, book clubs, or even simple coffee dates pile up, unanswered. Joining them feels like betraying Marco, she thinks. Social withdrawal, distinct from isolation, is the deliberate choice to avoid new connections, rooted in loyalty to the past or fear of judgment. In our modern world, this error is magnified by digital disconnection, ignoring group chats, declining virtual meetups, or scrolling past others' lives on social media, feeling both envious and unworthy. Elena muted her phone, believing no one could understand her pain, that new friendships would dilute the love she held for Marco. Psychologically, social withdrawal deepens loneliness, a silent thief that erodes mental health. Research shows that social disconnection after spousal loss increases the risk of depression by 40%, as the brain craves the oxytocin and dopamine of human bonds. Anxiety festers in this void, whispering lies. You'll never fit in again. Regret compounds the pain. Regret for missed opportunities to connect, for letting friendships fade. Spiritually, this withdrawal dims the soul's light, cutting us off from the communal energy that fuels hope. Yet within this error lies a profound lesson. Love is expansive, not exclusive. Grief teaches us that new connections honor, rather than replace, the past. Like a tree branching outward while rooted deep, your heart can hold both memory and new growth. Practical tools to overcome social withdrawal include gradual re-engagement. Start with low-stakes interactions, a short coffee with a trusted friend, a walk with a neighbor. Elena accepted an invitation to a local gardening club, a nod to Marco's love of plants, and found solace in shared stories over soil and seeds. Structured social spaces. Join a support group or community activity, like a book club or volunteer program, where conversations flow naturally. Organizations like Meetup or Grief Share offer safe spaces for widows to connect. Elena attended a storytelling circle, sharing memories of Marco, and heard echoes of her journey in others' words. Journaling prompts. Write responses to questions like, what would my spouse want for my happiness? Or, what small connection can I make today? Elena journaled, imagining Marco urging her to laugh again, which eased her guilt about new friendships. Elena's turning point came at a community potluck, where she brought Marco's favorite lasagna recipe. Sharing it sparked conversations, laughter, and a tentative friendship with a woman named Sarah, who'd also lost her partner. This connection, fragile at first, became a lifeline, proving that love's legacy thrives in community. The phoenix's embers glow brighter here, as social bonds rekindle hope. Error 6, spiritual disconnection, the loss of meaning's anchor. Now picture Elena sitting on her porch at dusk, staring at the stars. Once she and Marco found comfort in their shared faith, attending services and praying together. After his death, those rituals felt hollow. Why did this happen? She asked the sky, receiving only silence. Spiritual disconnection is the erosion of meaning, whether through faith, nature, or personal philosophy. In our secular, fast-paced world, this error is amplified. Skepticism dismisses spiritual exploration, social media glorifies materialism, and grief's weight makes purpose feel like a cruel mirage. Elena stopped attending church, let her meditation practice lapse, and felt adrift in a universe that seemed indifferent. The psychological impact is profound. Without a spiritual framework, grief breeds existential anxiety, with studies showing that those who lose spiritual connection post-loss report higher rates of chronic depression. Loneliness deepens as the soul craves meaning like the body craves air. Regret emerges, regret for abandoning beliefs or failing to find answers. Yet this error holds a gift. Grief invites us to rediscover meaning, to forge a new relationship with the divine, the universe, or our inner selves. The lesson? Renewal lies in seeking. Like a phoenix finding strength in its own ashes, spiritual reconnection transforms pain into purpose. Practical tools to bridge this gap include gratitude practices. Each morning, list 3 things you're grateful for, however small: a sunrise, a kind word, a memory. Elena began noting daily gratitudes, like the scent of Marco's favorite coffee, which grounded her in life's quiet beauties. Nature as sanctuary, spend time outdoors, letting the natural world mirror life's cycles. Elena walked by the ocean, feeling Marco's presence in the waves, a spiritual tether that soothed her doubts. Research supports this. Nature exposure reduces cortisol and fosters peace. Exploration of meaning. Read spiritual texts, attend retreats, or try guided meditations. Apps like Insight Timer offer grief-specific sessions. Elena joined a mindfulness retreat where silent reflection helped her see grief as a teacher, not a punishment. Elena's breakthrough came during a starry night when she lit a candle and spoke to Marco, not as prayer but as communion. "I'm still here," she whispered, feeling a spark of purpose. She began volunteering at a hospice, channeling her loss into compassion, a spiritual act that honored Marco's kindness. This is the phoenix's flight, meaning reborn from sorrow. The call to rise. As we conclude this journey, the empty chair transforms fully, not a void, but a throne of resilience. Elena's story, woven through the errors of social withdrawal and spiritual disconnection, mirrors your own potential to rise. These mistakes are not shackles, but invitations to connect, to seek, to grow. The phoenix, once smoldering, now soars, its wings aglow with the fire of purpose. The 7 errors: isolation, neglecting self-care, dwelling on regret, financial impulsivity, social withdrawal, spiritual disconnection, and resisting change, are threads in grief's tapestry, each a chance to weave strength. Practical tools: journaling, support groups, mindfulness, professional guidance, build bridges to healing. Metaphors of oceans, trees, and phoenixes remind us that grief is not the end, but a chrysalis. Your call to action is this: honor your love by living fully. Take one step today, reach out to a friend, light a candle for your soul, rearrange a corner of your home. Each act is a tribute, a declaration that your spouse's love lives on in your courage. The empty chair invites you to sit, reflect, and rise, carrying their light into a new dawn.